and welcome to episode 9 of my Cup of Yarn podcast. I'm Clara, I'm a knitter based in Moravia, and this is my channel when I talk about my knitting. And this episode is going to be shorter, maybe, if I don't talk too much. And I just wanted to update you on my Christmas knitting. And as I promised, I will talk about Christmas food, like typical Czech Christmas food. So if you follow me on Instagram, you know I finished my single malt sweater. It's a pattern by Maxim, and I didn't finish it before Christmas. I finished it on the 25th of December, but never mind, because since my husband's Russian, we do celebrate New Year's Eve, like Russian New Year's Eve, which is like really similar to not the Czech Christmas, but the Christmas in general. We have some festive food and we give each other gifts. So this sweater is going to be his New Year's gift. And then I have one whip for you, which I'm currently working on. Of course, I have more whips from my pre-Christmas knitting era, let's say, but I will be working on those after I finish this whip I'm going to show you in a few minutes. The single malt sweater looks like this. I'm really pleased with this pattern. As I told you last time, it's not plain stockinette, but still very mindless and entertaining. I can see that how it looks like. This is the structure of the sweater. It's really nice to knit. I chose the size number 3. Which should give my husband about 10 centimeters of positive ease, which is actually recommended, 5 to 10 centimeters. And one thing, when I was knitting it, it was kind of narrow, like a lot. And my husband, he did try it on several times, and he always said, this is too tight, and I was kind of scared it will be too tight for him, even though my gauge was correct and I picked the right size. I actually didn't swatch for this sweater because I know my gauge for this wool, because I gauge swatched last year, and I also knitted a hat with the same yarn about a month ago. So I knew my gauge is 18 stitches per 10 centimeters, which is what's written in the pattern. And so I was like, can't be it. My gauge is correct, so why is it so narrow? But it's, after washing and blocking, it really blocked out really well. So now it has those 10 centimeters of positive ease, fortunately. And I compared this sweater to one of the sweaters my husband wears, and this is almost the same size. This is a little bit longer, which will be better for my husband. So I go, phew, okay, I'm safe and sound, and or can I say it like it's safe and sound, or it's just okay. I was relieved it won't be too tight for him. About this fabric it creates, I wanted to show you how it looks in the inside, because I really like the inside, let's say, pattern as well. It will be a lot of purling if you were to knit this as the right side, but it looks really nice. Or you can do it like reverse stockinette style, like just you would turn the sweater inside out afterwards. So it has this really nice raglan detail. You can see that it's like knit 2, purl 1, knit 2, and as a thing, when you see my ribbing or color, it's knit 1, purl 1, and that's absolutely my fault, because I didn't read the pattern correctly. I just, saw ribbing, also brackets, K1, P1, and I went like, okay, ribbing, and added the color, the ribbing on the body, and when I got to sleeves, I was like, something's off because my stitch count wasn't like correct. And so when I finished the body, one sleeve, and started this ribbing, I realized the ribbing pattern is different. Actually, it makes completely sense because it's a K2 purl one, and that makes sense because it would correspond with this detail nicely, right? Why I didn't realize it sooner is because the stitch count for the neck and the ribbing on the bottom of the body is divisible by 2 as well by 3. So that was why, but not the stitch count on the cuffs or the sleeves. It was only divisible by 3, and that's how I realized it, or that's how I found out about it. But I said, never mind, I will keep it as it is. My husband won't mind. And it doesn't look that bad, I think. When you just look at that, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, so that's one change I made, but not on purpose. As you can see, there's a neck shaping. It happens here on the neckband, on the collar. So it's kind of nice and hidden. And the raglan detail actually continues here on the sleeve. You can see that. But it's not that visible. Maybe after wearing. And you actually start knitting here and you go on around. And you alternate rows when you only knit, or you alternate knit and purls. And it's kind of easy to forget about that those last 2 stitches has to be like knit stitches only. So often I was knitting and I just knit and purled the last 2, and then when I was knitting another round, I was like, oh my god, I made a mistake. So several times I had to with crochet hook, I had to change the purl stitch to knit stitch. That's one thing I didn't like about this, but because I have to kind of focus on it. But yeah, I think why not to have this detail here? But it's not necessary, I believe. What next? And yeah, I said it's stretched out, blocked out quite nicely. What else? And I made a mistake because there's this neck shaping, and it's a German shoulder rolls, which I like. And somehow one of the double stitches, I knitted the stitch as 2 stitches instead of 1. Somehow that's what happens when you're knitting with kids around. And I realized it like a few rows after, and like, no way I'm changing this. So I think it's here. Yeah, the mistake is here. Can you see it? But I don't think it's that visible. So yeah, so I was like, I'm not ripping back. No way I'm ripping back. And I wanted to tell you that I almost forgot. This is the first time I tried twisted German cast on, and it's also called Norwegian cast on, and it's almost like the long tail cast on, but it gives more stretch, and it looks good. It looks nice. I can show it to you again. Maybe like that. Can you see that? Maybe like that. Yeah. And it's really stretchy. Look at that. It gives a lot of stretch. And this is already stretched because I blocked it out a lot. So I can see that. And then I was Googling because I didn't want to bind off using tubular bind off because it really doesn't correspond with the German twisted cast on. So I googled a little bit and I found out that there's an Icelandic bind off which correspond with the German twisted cast on nicely. And I tried it as well. As you can see, it looks like that. Although it's like almost like garter stitch look. And again, it's kind of stretchy. I might have knitted it too tightly, but still, it's definitely stretchier than like normal bind off and just slip stitches. And it looks nice. It's really easy, and so I can totally recommend it. So I think this is going to be my new favorite method for a cast on bind off method. So I can totally recommend that. And I think it's a really nice sweater. As you can see, yeah, it's stretchy. It's stretchy. Maybe next time I would grab, or I would go up a needle size for the bind off, and it will like secure the stretchiness of it. But totally recommend it. And I followed the instruction by pearls. I'm not sure now. I don't want to lie. So, but it's really easy. The Icelandic bind off. Do try it out. The yarn is Peruvian Highland wool by Filcolana, and this is the colorway Granite. I think it's 812, something like that. It will be written somewhere here. And it's 100% wool, but it's so soft. After washing, it softens even more. So I can totally recommend it for someone who likes to wear like 100% wool garment, but is sensitive to wool. Like if you can't wear like a rustic type of yarn, you can't knit with a rustic yarn. This is a really nice wool, and it's quite affordable. I think it's like $4 per ball, and this is size number 3, and I used 8 balls. So that's really like affordable, and wool is really nice. And I think that's all I wanted to mention about this sweater. Yeah, and it smells sheepy. Not too much, just like decent sheepy smell, and I like it. I'm still thinking about. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to mention. Yeah. And maybe it's also nice that, the first row after ribbing and before ribbing is just purled, and it creates like this really nice edge, I think. Okay, I have to drink a little. And my son is sleeping, and my husband was brave enough to take care of Ina for half an hour, or at least I told him it will be 30 minutes. So it will be more. I'm not sure how he will cope with that, but yeah. And I don't normally talk about what I'm drinking because I don't think that's it. I know, important, but this tea blend is marvelous, and I bought it before Christmas, and I've been drinking it every day since then. And I keep the packet so I can tell you what's inside. The name of the tea is Deep Breathing in the Forest. It's 100% organic herbal tea, and there are blackberry leaves, blueberry leaves, spruce needles, which is awesome, like this spruce needles paste. I totally love it. Dandelion leaves, stinging nettle, ribwort, clover, daisies, and cowslip. So nice. So that's it. And my whip is the yak beanie for my husband again, and I think 2 episodes ago I showed you just the beginning and I talked about the yarn, and now I finished the body of the hat, and now and I reverse it, and reverse stockinette I do the brim. It looks like this. Yeah, so I follow almost the same construction as I did for the red pom-pom hat I showed you last time, I think. But I also told you that I didn't like the knit front and back increases. So this time I did like make one left, make one right increase. So I started not with 8 stitches but with 12 stitches. And I can show it to you again. Is it visible? Oh, just wait. Yeah, like that. So I think it's neater in my opinion. And when I was, there was a hole, of course, on the top, and I pulled the yarn through, and then I just was pulling to tie it and close the gap. And this yarn is not like super brittle or fragile, but it did break. And I was like 2 centimeters of it left here, and I haven't finished yet. So I was like, oh my god. But I just grabbed a regular sewing needle and just somehow worked it in the fabric, so now it's secure enough. And yeah, the construction is inspired by the Petite Knit Oslo hat. The brim above all, because the Oslo hat is knitted bottom up. I knit this hat top down. I found it like more practical because you can try it on. And now I just it's actually, I'm knitting it like that right now, and I got that much of the brim. I'm going to knit it about 20 centimeters long, and then I will fold it twice. Yeah, and the stitch count for this is all like really improvised. But I got it really right because I tried, my husband tried it on and it fits perfectly. In Czech we say jako prdel na hrnec, which is literally translated as it fits as a arse in the pot. So yeah, that's it. That's my whip. The yarn is it's called sarlak. It's a Mongolian yarn, 100% organic yak wool, and from the company News Concept. And as I told you before, it doesn't stretch. It's not stretchy. Just look at it. It feels more like cotton or linen, but it blooms beautifully, and then it's really nice. So I think after washing, the hat will be really, really nice. And maybe I want to talk about Christmas. So actually, my husband got me a new mobile phone for Christmas. And I'm recording on that mobile phone right now, and it's the first time I have something like high techy and actually better than my husband. And he bought it for me so I can make better podcasts, more quality videos. And if I'm looking in that direction, that's because now I'm recording on the back camera, and here's my laptop where I can see what I'm recording. So that's how it works right now. And he also bought me this book. It's Fleece and Fiber source book. It's really heavy, really big book, and it's really nice. I've already read some parts about yak fiber and mohair, and it has like lots of like this beautiful picture. Oh, yeah, this way, beautiful pictures. And everything is described in detail, and you can even hear, there's a map, and you can just look or see where the animal lives. And what am I missing though is some general information about the how do you say it? Like, there's information about staple length and microns, but it doesn't says what the staple is, what the micron is, how does it influence the yarn, or when you spin it, or fiber when you spin it, or the yarn, and or the finished knitted garment. So that's something I'm missing and I don't know much about. So if you know about the book with this type of information, please do write it in the comments. So now I want to talk about my knitting plans for 2022. I already told you I'm going to cast on the brochure, which is Donna Smith design, I believe, and I found it in the Shetland Wool Adventures journal, and for that I'm going to use Retrosaria Brusca, which I have here. It looks like that. And this yarn is Retrosaria Vovo. It's like this nice forest green color. And that I want to use for a cardigan. And I've chosen two cardigan patterns. One is, I think it's Field Day cardigan by Ozeta Knitwear. And but it goes for DK weight yarn, and I don't want to knit this in forest green. I was thinking about more like beige brown color. So, and my local yarn shop, Vlněné Sestry, they introduced a new base from Ito. It's called Soukosho, and it's 90% wool and 10% cashmere DK weight. So that would be really nice for this cardigan, I believe. And this Retrosaria Vovo in forest green I would love to use for fennel. I think the pattern is called fennel. And the designer, she's French. I don't speak French. I have no idea how to pronounce her name, so I will just write it here for you so you can see, because I don't want to embarrass myself. And yeah, so that's it. Two cardigans, one shawl, and then I've also bought two patterns from Sari Nordlund, and one is the Billy pullover. Both are cabled. The first one is Billy pullover. That would be for me, and I know that some people also use the Saria Vovo, but since I'm going to knit the cardigan in Vovo, I don't want to use it again, because I would like to try another yarn. So if you have any recommendation for the Billy pullover, I think it's called for sport or DK weight, and it must be suitable for cable knitting, because not every yarn looks good in cables, let's say. And the second one is Sveber pullover by Sari again. It's also cabled pullover, and it has like a Henley like neckline, let's say, with zipper, and that I want to knit for my husband. And I think I'll use Juliette from Deredo Natura in dark blue. My husband wished or said he'd like to have it in a dark blue color. And Sveber is actually an island near Helsinki. In Finnish it's called Suomenlinna, and we were there. We were dating with my husband. We were dating for about months or 3 weeks, and decided to buy tickets to Helsinki for Easter. But some tickets were kind of cheap, so we spent 4 days in Helsinki. And I'm thinking about this weekend very often. I think about it at least once a week, I think. I remember it because it was so wonderful. So that pullover will be for him. And then I want to knit 2 sweaters, one for my daughter, one for my son, and I think I'll use Peruvian again from Filcolana, and the pattern, I already have the pattern. I bought it about a year ago, and it's a Felix Jensen, I think. It's from Lisa Hauklund. Her name or nickname is Kezilla on RAVELRY. So it's a really simple raglan sweater for children. So that's my current plans for the next year. I hope I will manage to knit it all. I've also bought some sock patterns from Ozeta Knitwear, and they're all knitted with Lopi, so I want to try it as well. As you can see, I have a lot of plans. We'll see how much time I'm going to have. And what are your plans? Please do share your knitting plans in the comments. Or did you cast on something new on Christmas? I know that a lot of people do, like Christmas cast on. I didn't do that this year because I was lucky to have time to finish the single malt. I'm still doing this. I know it's annoying. It's because I don't have anything to, my hair with. So I didn't do that, but I'm definitely gonna do the New Year's cast on the brochure. Okay, so I think that's all Christmas. That's all knitting related. And now I will talk briefly about Christmas food. Christmas food. In the Czech Republic, the food differs a lot from region to region, even from family to family. But I can tell you some general rules or general principles, let's say, what we do eat. The breakfast on the New Year's Eve, like the 24th of December, is usually vanochka, which is a type of sweet leavened bread with raisins and almonds and lemon zest. And you actually make braids out of the dough, and my version is has 3 layers. The top layer is made of 4 strands, the middle out of 3, and the top out of 2. And I took photos, so you should be able to see that now. Or you can braid it out of 6 or even 9 strands, but it's too difficult for me, so I just made this easy version. And today it's Tuesday, and I've already baked it 3 times since Thursday of this last week. So yeah, it's really good and really it's a real favorite food in the Czech Republic and in my family. And the lunch on the Christmas day, let's say, should be something pretty light, with there's no meat, no dairy, almost like vegan, let's say, food. And this differs a lot. Some people don't eat at all, just snack a little, or they have just some soup. The soup is usually made out of legumes, lentils, peas, or they eat some mash, like pea mash, for example. We ate a meal which is called Černý Kuba, it was translated as Black Jacob. And Ina is crying a lot. I should go there. Okay, so Ina was really hungry, and she will be joining us again. So for lunch we ate Černý Kuba, which can be translated as Black Jacob. But I don't think that the word Kuba, Jacob, has anything to do with the actual name. But I wasn't able to Google the origin of the meal name, actually, because they say this meal was eaten even like in pre-Christian times in here in this region. So that's it. It consists of groats, onions, mushrooms, and a lot of garlic, and spices, which are cumin and marjoram, maybe. I don't know how to pronounce it or even how to say it, so I will just write it down or write it here on the screen. And you cooked it and you fry it and then you bake it. So there's a crust on it. It's a really simple meal and super delicious. And like in pre-Christian times, people forest was something sacred to them, and mushrooms as well, because even now we do call mushrooms like the forest meat. But mushrooms are forest meat, so that's it's kind of nice. And as I said, people eat different meals at lunch. My best friend, she's from the South Bohemia, and for example, they eat smunda, which is just like potato dough. You create uncooked potatoes, add spices, garlic, salt, pepper, and so on. A little bit flour, and this kind of thin dough. You put it on a baking sheet and you bake it, and then you cut it in pieces and eat. So again, it's crispy on the top, and I know I haven't eaten it yet, but it's a kind of variation. The dough is the same dough we use for a meal called bramboráky, which are like fried potato pancakes, and those are delicious. So I believe that this smunda, this baked version, must be delicious as well. And dinner consists usually, I think always, of potato. The typical like Bohemian potato salad has potatoes, pickled cucumbers, a lot of vegetables, even ham, apple, or celery in it, and mayonnaise. Some people do substitute that with yogurt today, but I always make a potato salad my mother used to make or still makes, which is a recipe from her region called Valašsko. It's a region in Moravia, and it's a really, really simple salad. Just eggs, onions, potatoes, and pickled cucumbers. And but I don't use eggs. I fry tofu and I sprinkle it with black salt. I sprinkle it with black salt, and it gives it this egg-like taste. And so there's a salad, and then there's usually fried carp or fried chicken or pork schnitzel, or there's like white pudding or sausage-like meat thing, which I don't eat, and so on. And before we eat potato salad with some schnitzel, we ate plant-based schnitzels, fried plant-based schnitzels. Before that, there's usually soup, fish soup, or pea soup, or krkonošské kyselo, which is like sourdough mushroom soup. And I cooked soup called kyselica. Kyselica is from the word kyseli, in sour, and it's actually like fermented cabbage soup with potatoes and potatoes. And it doesn't maybe sound enough. Ow! She's pulling my hair. doesn't sound like much. It doesn't look really good, but it is good. Trust me. Like this fermented cabbage is something really typical for the Czech Republic. And what's the thing? Okay. And that's it. I think for the food. And now Christmas cookies. So I usually bake 5 to 6 kinds. I think it's enough. I do bake the traditional ones. I used to bake like even 15 kinds when I was a teenager and I had time for that. But not now, and I think it's 5 or 6 is just enough, and we are able to eat it like in the week between Christmas and New Year's Eve, and really it's enough. And I took some photos as well, so you should be able to see that now. And I baked vanilla croissants, linzer cookies with homemade breadcrumb jam. Then pracny. Pracna means a big hand or a bear's paw, and we have special molds for them, and so it looks like a paw, really. And it's a dough made of nuts, cocoa, grounded cloves and cinnamon. It's really tasty. Ellie from the Different Fibers tried this recipe and she liked it. And gingerbread cookies, of course. I baked one batch according to my recipe and one batch according to Ellie's recipe, so American ones. There's some molasses in it, which is something we don't use almost at all in the Czech Republic, so the taste is kind of foreign to us, but it's interesting. It was interesting to try something new, and gingerbread cookies, the American ones, are great as well. And what else I made? Gingerbread cookies, yeah, rum balls, rum nut balls. Just when one batch of linzer cookies wasn't that successful, I'd say. So I turned it into unbaked cookies. I just mixed it with nuts, sugar. I added a lot of rum, and I just make little balls, which I do every year. But just this year it was a little bit different base, let's say. And my husband loves them the most. But they are too strong for me and are definitely not for children, let's say. And yeah, that's it, maybe. I'm not sure, or I can't think about anything else I wanted to share with you today. So, yeah. The next episode will be sometime in January, and it's going to be episode number 10. So I was thinking about, if you want to, we can make it, turn it partially into a Q&A type of episode. So if you have a question like yarn related, Czech culture related, or my personal life related, you can ask that in the comments below, and I'm going to answer it. Or you can write me, like, send a direct message via Instagram if you want to, or on RAVELRY. And I'm going to answer your questions in the next episode, so that everyone can hear the answers. Maybe someone want to ask and it's too shy. I don't know. Maybe the answers will be interesting even for others. So let's do it this way, if you want to, of course. Maybe there may be 1 question, 2 questions, never mind. It will be somewhat Q&A episode. And I can only wish you Happy New Year, a lot of health, because it's just, in these days it's the most important thing we have. And in Czech it would be přeju vám šťastný nový rok a hodně zdraví, protože to je momentálně to nejdůležitější, co máme. And one more thing, I like 2 weeks ago when I went for a walk with my children, it was a lot of snow here, and I took some footage, and I was commenting even what I'm recording. So if you are interested, you can watch it now. You will see different or another part of my town and a little bit of our castle. We live right next to a castle. So if you want to, go watch it. If not, it doesn't matter. So, and I will see you next year. Bye bye.
Nezavírej to. We have been renovating the castle, so the yellow orange-ish part, you see, just the new part. New paint, that's how it's supposed to look like, the whole castle after they're finished. And this is actually the oldest part. It used to be a Gothic monastery, and after that they turned it into a castle, Renaissance castle, and they should start renovating this part, this chapel, next year, but they're going to start inside, so the outside part will be done, I don't know, maybe in 2 or 3 years, we'll see. So that's our castle and the park around, and a red yellow building there, it's a kindergarten. And there I'll take you to through another gate, which is there back in the park. So wait for it. Can you hear the river? I just love the sound of the water running there. It's so calming. So nice. It's another of our usual walks next to the castle gardens or castle park and the river. Yeah. Love it. So, I don't know if you can see it. You should be able to see it. There, it's like a gate. That's actually one of the entrances to the mines, the old coal mines. I spoke about it in the previous video, that Osani, my town, was the first place in Moravia with coal mining, and this is one of the mines. It's closed. Actually, on the other side of the river, there's like this path, and those are like this, information tables, and you can read about all of the mines and entrances, and you can't go in because it's dangerous still, but there's like a lot of information about them along the way. And let me just maybe zoom it. Yeah, that's how it looks like, for example. And I also took a footage of the castle park with church. Oh my god, it's called playground for children, and there are also trees along, decorated with like children from the kindergarten, and I think the elementary school as well. They made decorations, and every year there was like at least 10 Christmas trees along the fence with their decorations, so I took a footage of it so you can see it as well. And that's it. So this recording with the Christmas trees will start now. There's no talking, I'll just add some music to it so you can enjoy it with Christmassy music. That's my son running away.